Good morning, everybody. Welcome into Coffee Break, presented by Bath Fitter. We've got DMAC, Rachel Veal, hanging out with you for the next 45 minutes to an hour. DMAC, how are you on this Friday?
St. Patrick's Day.
I know, I'm not wearing any green. I kind of messed up, actually.
The day of my people. The day of...
Great.
I really don't root for the Red Sox anymore, but I do have this green hat.
Nice.
So, I got this, green shirt, so I'm trying. I do have a four-leaf clover Irish tattoo. I got one of them, too.
You're kidding.
Yeah.
Where?
My back, so I can't see it. I lost a bet. So,
Wait, are you serious? I didn't know that. Do you only have one tattoo?
Nope, I got two. I have a tattoo of the Red Sox logo on my left ankle, but I got it done all in red, and it has faded away over time. And when I was 7 years old, I poked myself with a pen, so I have one blue dot. So I've got a jail tattoo of one blue dot. I've got Red Sox on my ankle that are fading away, and I have a really dumb, I lost a bet about Drew Lock, but I turned it into a four-leaf clover Irish sort of stupid thing. So I got two. If you want to include the prison tattoo when I was 7, I've got 3.
Oh my gosh, that is honestly too funny. Vic Drums Music says this is the first time I've ever actually watched this live. Well, hello. Thanks for hanging out with us. Sandler, hello. Elizabeth, happy St. Patrick's Day. We're happy to have us with you on this Friday. We got a lot to talk about. We're going to talk Nuggets, Avs, both getting on the win streak. We're going to be talking about the Broncos, possibly Isaiah McKenzie coming to the Denver Broncos. Wouldn't that be interesting? And then it's also Friday, so we're doing an Ask Us Anything at the end of the show. So hang out with us, get your questions ready, drop them in the comments. I know. Fun Friday, right? And then you're getting ready.
I agree. I had not heard that. I was doing some work on Jerry, Jeudy, and Cortland Sutton today, so I got mini news about that, but I hadn't heard anything about Isaiah McKenzie. You got me interested. Can we just start there? Can you just tell me what you got?
I think I should tease it, though, and we should talk about the Nuggets and Avs first.
All right. I'm getting ahead of myself. Because
it is an interesting conversation to be had for sure, but let's get on to the Nuggets because they ended up beating the worst team in the NBA last night, 119-110, the Detroit Pistons. But was it a convincing enough win for you not to be on the panic mode or meter, or does it kind of stay the same?
I'm at the same. I was at a 6.5 on the panic meter. I'm on a 6.5 today. They trailed at halftime by 6. They got it together. They had a really strong fourth quarter. They outscored the Pistons 33-14. Jamal was okay. He was okay. Michael Porter Jr. actually had a bad night. And Jokic was Jokic. Jokic was amazing. And did you notice, Rachel? Malone took him out. Could have left him in to get one more assist. He took him out, 1 assist away from a triple-double.
Why? I don't know.
Because it's not about stat padding. That's not the issue. I like the move by Malone. Up yours to the rest of the world. We're about winning basketball games, and that's it. If the triple-doubles happen, the triple-doubles happen. They happen more times than not. If I'm Brandon Stokely, I'm pretty upset because he likes that one. But he had 30 points, 10 rebounds, and 9 assists. So, there you go.
Okay.
There you go with the stat padding.
Wow, Andy's really just jump off the bandwagon of the Nuggets. He said, is there any world where the Nuggets get bounced in the second round and Jamal Murray gets traded?
No. 0.
Andy.
Well, there's a world they get bounced in the second round. That could definitely happen. Listen, Rach, we're going to have to survive these next 2 games in New York and Brooklyn. Yeah. They're probably not going to be pretty, okay? This road trip was not shaping up to be pretty in the first place. True. But Michael Malone wins his 400th game. They win the Northwest Division. They're the first team that's guaranteed a playoff spot in the NBA, or at least in the West. Listen, Rach, it's not great what's been going on, but they did at least what they should have done last night at the end of the game. They kept an opponent in the NBA to 14 points. It is the worst team in the league. Rach, seriously. Seriously.
That's Stephen A. complaining.
If I can screw something up, I will. But yeah, no, it was a good effort by the Nuggets finally last night, although it was frustrating. So my frustration meter stays at a 6.5.
Why 0.5? Why not a 7 or just a 6?
I don't know, because I'm trying to be quirky. It's a 6. You're right. Okay. Why am I trying to be overly quirky? Good point by you. Shut up. Don't try so hard, D-Mac.
All right. Well, the other kind of unfortunate news, and maybe unfortunate's the wrong word, because if you truthfully believe in Nikola Jokic, then I say you jump on this. He is no longer the MVP favorite. Yeah. So do you jump on it because you believe that he could possibly, change people's minds and, jump to be the favorite again, and then you could get a little more moolah in your hands afterwards? Or do you say, things aren't looking too hot right now, I'm going to stay away from it?
This is not a complicated situation. If he leads his team to the Western Conference title, okay, they win the West, and he averages a triple-double, he's the MVP, the end. Period.
But it doesn't have to do with the playoffs. It's only regular season.
Well, that's right. So the Western Conference regular season. If they win the Western Conference title, if they're first in the West. They're first in the West. I didn't say it the right way. You're right. God, I am not good today.
D-Mac is on vacation mode already. He's ready to go. I tell you,
if they win the regular season, I guess, do you get a title? I don't know if you, I think you get something for your division, which they just won. I don't know if you get something for having the best record in the Western Conference. You probably don't, actually. You probably just get a division title, which they won last night. Listen, if they have the best record in the Western Conference at the end of the regular season, and Jokic averages a triple-double, Rachel, it's over. That's it. You're the MVP. The end. It is such a crazy thing to accomplish that you had to do something next level to do so. And then you got to just throw in, you had no other All-Stars. The only other guy you had at the All-Star weekend was Michael Malone and Bones Highland, and Bones is playing for another team. I understand what's going on because the Nuggets slumped. And as an MVP, you can't just slump away. You can't. You lost some bad games there. And it wasn't Jokic's fault. Jokic had huge contributions in those games. Yeah. But I get it.
So are you jumping on it?
Jumping on Jokic not winning the MVP? No. Jokic is going to win the MVP.
People should definitely jump on this, and they're
yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. Actually, you're right about that. I love that. They're gonna win the West. He's gonna have a triple-double, and Embiid is great. Yeah, you're right. It's a good time to jump on. Fair point. I see where
you don't want to jump on when they're already the favorite, because
I get it.
What can I say, man?
I got to turn off one brain to turn on another brain when you're talking about this sort of stuff. It's like I am seeing I saw this video yesterday. It was hysterical. So, and I don't even know what the team was, but they were favored. They were an underdog by 24.5 points. They were an underdog by 24.5 points. Okay. And the team's winning by 25. So everything's fine if you got the one team. And this kid on the other team down 24 points for no reason. Pucks up a 3-pointer at the buzzer, and it goes in. And you just, some guys were on the edge of, oh no! Oh my God! We only won by 23, not 25 and a half. So, anyways.
First of all, March Madness has been so fun, and we are going to talk about how the Coffee Break crew completely blew it, but we'll do that in just a little bit because I do want to touch on the Avs real quick. They keep their hot streak rolling on the road trip, which has obviously been fantastic, different than what we've seen out of the Nuggets. So perfect road trip so far. How are you feeling about the Avs and kind of where they stand, despite, again, what we talk about every single time we talk about the Avs and all the injuries?
Well, I'll have a game for you, Rachel. Can you name all the backup goalies who have played behind Georgiev this season?
Johansson. Oh my gosh, why can't I think of his name? Frankie.
Yeah.
Antoine.
I'll give it to you. Annunen or Anunin. I'll give it to you. There's one more.
They called him up, correct?
And they traded for him. But they did
Oh,
both.
I feel like I can picture his face, but I cannot picture.
You should be able to picture his pads.
Oh, I can't think of his name. Hold on.
Well, you got a gold star. Hey, listen, he only played in 2 games. So
I know.
and they sent him Keith Kincaid.
Oh, dang it.
But yes, that's the type of year it's been. Johansson had one of the greatest clutch saves of all time last night. He made the save with about 7.2 seconds, and then the series of lasted for another couple seconds until they had a faceoff with 4.1. Comfort wins the draw. They win the game. They win the game 5-4. That was Rachel, a ridiculous save. And I wrote about it today at denversports.com that, in the movie Almost Famous, great movie, there's a scene where Band-Aid Penny Lane, played by Kate Hudson, whispers to William Miller, the young journalist going out on the road for this rock and roll sojourn. She whispers in his ear, "It's all happening. It's all happening." Meaning, like, here we go. It's all happening. And for the Avalanche, Rachel, it's all happening. Again, they're going out on the road. They're playing better than ever. They have won. I can't believe they have won 3 straight games in Canada. 1 against Montreal, okay. But you beat a tough Toronto team, and the next night, you beat a Senators team who's a good team at home, too. I mean, you found a way to win those games. And one of those games, you won with Jonas Brothers Johansson. Wow. Making the best save of the entire year at the most important time to win a game. Yeah. I mean, goodness gracious, Rachel. With the Avalanche, hey, man, it's all happening, which is really exciting.
Which we're all about. Real quick, because we do have him, Jake Shapiro is down at Ball Arena because he's going to be there. So we are going to bring him in. Jake, hello, good morning. How are you?
Hey, guys. You hear me all right?
Yeah.
Awesome. I'm on the floor right now, Ball Arena. Future top 10 pick in the NBA draft, Keontae George from Baylor, is like 10 feet from me. If I say his name loud enough, I think he can hear it. We've got UCSB, Baylor, great game coming up in just a couple minutes. All day, full of basketball. I'm very excited.
No, for sure. Is there a lot of people there? Because for some of the games we've seen, it hasn't been like a packed house by any means.
Yeah, so you can see a lot of empty seats, but we're about an hour before tip here. I know because I paid. Tickets are about $110 for the evening session tonight. In Greensboro, you can get a ticket for $4 to the same event just in Greensboro.
Denver, man. It's a tough place to live. It's way more
Wow.
here. Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
So,
who you got in the first game, Jake? Baylor or it's blanked in my mind right now.
The Gauchos, UCSB. Come on.
Thank you. I'm on a Friday.
You're asking me, will we see another 3 versus 14 upset? I don't think we see that one here this afternoon in this game. But Gonzaga plays in a 3-14 matchup later tonight. And that one's a little sneaky tough, and Gonzaga's been up and down this year. Julian Strother is one of their best players, and that's actually a name to watch for Nuggets fans. He would fit the Nuggets perfectly, and he's going to be a second-round pick. Julian Strother. So keep that in mind if you're watching the game later tonight.
All right, Jake.
You guys,
go for it.
You guys know a little trivia. Do you know which local Colorado sports broadcaster is a graduate of UCSB? He's a proud Gaucho.
Ryan Spilbords?
That is correct. Jake Shapiro with the gold star right there.
Oh, and I've got a little trivia for you guys. So we're at Ball Arena right now that replaced McNicholas Arena, as you guys know. McNicholas Arena was the last basketball/hockey stadium to host the Final Four before they moved it into football stadiums. That's one of the reasons why Denver has not hosted a Final Four in 30 years. It's because we don't have a football stadium with a covered roof.
Well, good to know. Well, that'll get DMAC started on a rant about why the Walton Penner Group needs to get us a stadium with a roof, but we'll do that later. Jake, have fun. Enjoy the game. I'll see you later tonight because I'll be down there for the 5 o'clock game.
Oh, it's gonna be fun. We're gonna spark you on. D-Mac, you gonna be here for your Sun Devils, or are you going?
No doubt, baby. Forks up. Let's go. Let's go, Devils.
All right, Jake Shapiro, right there, everybody. Somebody I saw in the comments. He was like, he looks like a kid in a candy store. Jake loves to go to events, so I'm happy that he gets to be down there this morning. Glad he was able to check in with us. I'm excited though for tonight's game. Like I've obviously never been to an NCAA tournament game, but I've done a basketball tournament, so I feel like it's going to be kind of walking down memory lane of like I remember doing the 4 basketball games in one day kind of thing. So I'm excited.
It's really fun. I've been to several of them, been lucky to be several, including one in Denver on St. Patrick's Day weekend not that long ago.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? It probably was a damn long time ago. So, no, that actually was a long time ago. But I've done this before in Denver and other places, and it's always a lot of fun. I was down there yesterday. It was great to see, the students and the excitement and the bands. Like, the bands were playing during their team's warm-ups yesterday. Right. I mean, it's kind of like that. It's a weird event, though, because it is sold out.
Yeah.
You can always buy tickets. But it is sold out. However, it's never sold out, Rachel, at the same time. I mean, it's like, so there are always thousands of empty seats, but the game is sold out because people come at different sessions. And then your team loses, Rachel, you leave. You don't hang around for the most part. If your team loses, what they get going here in about an hour, by by 1 o'clock, if you're a UCSB Gaucho and you just lost to Baylor, I mean, I guess you go back to the beach. So it's a very kind of odd event too. But it's a lot of fun, and I think it's great that it's here in Denver, and I would, if you got the money for it, I mean, I was blown away how expensive the tickets were. So my son who went to ASU, I cannot believe how much he just spent on tickets for him and some buddies. I mean, it's crazy.
No way. Oh, yeah. Wow. I mean, it's expensive. I'm gonna nerd out real quick, but Taylor Swift is starting her tour today. So if you see people talking about the eras, it's all about Taylor Swift today for a lot of females and males too. Will Peterson, a big Taylor Swift fan. But I was looking, and tickets are dropping in Arizona for like $100 or something. And I looked here in Denver because I was like, I would go. It's still like $500 here, and I was like, nope, not worth $500 for me, unfortunately.
What is our problem here, Rachel? What is our problem?
I don't know. What can I say?
Is it? Are we just like in such an amazing place? Is that what it is?
I don't know.
Maybe, I don't know.
Guess so. Who knows? I mean, don't get me wrong. I love Colorado, but it's gotten a lot more busier since I've gotten older too. So we'll leave it at that though, because I do want to talk about Isaiah McKenzie. The Bills have released him. So
wow.
The Broncos make a play for that. Obviously, there have been talks about trading Jeudy, getting rid of Cortland Sutton. Do you say goodbye to maybe one of those guys and then go after Isaiah McKenzie?
That is fascinating. Right. Do we know why they cut him?
We do not. Adam Schefter just tweeted out that they had released him. I do not think. I'm double checking right now. Nope, they've just released him. That's all it says.
Okay. I mean, I think we have Isaiah McKenzie with KJ Hamler, I think.
Oh, okay.
That's an interesting one.
Mm-hmm.
That is an interesting one. Here's what I was snooping around. Listen, first of all, if you've got a box of chocolates and Forrest Gump and some Chick-fil-A coupons, you can have Cortland Sutton. The Broncos will, if you're willing to take on his contract, the Broncos will ship Cortland Sutton out of town right now for practically anything.
Yeah.
There's just not, Rachel, there's teams that would like Cortland Sutton, but they don't like his contract for the value that he gives them. There definitely was interest in Jerry Jeudy, 100%. Mm-hmm. But it just wasn't enough. It really wasn't a high enough first-round value. Again, Rach, the article that I've taken so much heat for about trading Patrick Surtain, really spend the time and read it, you will understand to get double the first-round value of any player is so unusual that if you ever achieve that, if that player ever truly outperforms the value of his position,
Mm-hmm.
you're kind of crazy not to do a deal unless you really truly feel you're in a championship window, in
Mm-hmm.
which case you need great players, obviously. But
True.
if you're not in a championship window and you have a player that is double his initial value, you're nuts not to deal him. Jerry Jeudy was 15. I think he's the best player on the Broncos, and they can't get a first rounder for him. If they could
Mm-hmm.
get a first and maybe a fourth for him, okay. But I think the price tag is like a second and maybe something else. And it's just, it's just not worth the Broncos' time. So right now,
Mm-hmm.
the Broncos have kind of shut that down. They've had inquiries. It didn't match what they perceived the value of Jeudy to be. This is a
Yeah.
tough one for Jeudy and Sutton because they both know they were on the chopping block or
True.
shopping block. They weren't going to get cut. They were going to get traded. So they both know that they were, dealable assets, and they're both likely to be back on the team.
Mm-hmm.
So Isaiah McKenzie, I don't think so. I won't completely rule it out,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't think so. But let's see how the market treats it, Rachel. If you keep going down and down and down, and
Yep.
that's exactly what the Broncos are doing right now with Kareem Jackson at safety. They're waiting for the market to go down.
True. True.
We'll see. Interesting, though.
Isaiah McKenzie is a player, an absolute stud, incredibly fast. It would be interesting. My whole thing with this wide receiver talk is this happening because Sean Payton just doesn't see full potential out of these guys? I mean, Cortland Sutton's obviously struggled tremendously since he recovered from his ACL. But is this all Sean Payton being? Because last year at this time, could you have imagined we would have talked about trading Jerry Jeudy?
Yeah, I can believe it because I wrote the article about it. Well, yeah, because I don't think we're in a champ. Listen, I don't want to bum everybody out here, but I don't think we're in a championship window. So if you want to, and you don't have any draft picks because you gave up your draft picks for Russell Wilson and Sean Payton, and you're better off getting core starting players at other positions and adding them on later. And in terms of the wide receiver position, it's important, no doubt about it. It's really important. But look how much time, Rachel, it's taken to develop Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah.
I'm not for it because I hate Jerry Jeudy. It's just the opposite. I think on teams that are trying to build themselves back up, you need valuable assets in which to do so to go through the draft. The Broncos have spent the third most money in free agency of anybody in the NFL. The third most. It is stunning how much money they have just spent, but you don't have much depth behind it. So Can I believe it? Well, I mean, the story is you have the wealthiest owners and you have a lousy football team with a bad quarterback. So actually, yeah, I actually can believe it. And I can believe it to the fact that Surtain was up there. And I know that teams were calling about Surtain. There were teams that were, yeah, of course they were, though, Rachel, for the same reasons. Because you can see a vulnerable team. So there were teams reaching out. The Broncos love Patrick Surtain. They think it's all about Patrick Surtain. So that's not happening. Yep. But you're gonna have to make some big decisions. And Rachel, we should notice Jalen Ramsey, fantastic top 10 drafted corner, is on his third team. Stephon Gilmore's been in the league for a while. He's on his fifth team, and he was a top 10. These corners, Rachel, never stay on their same team. Never, ever, ever, especially the really good ones.
You ready for some interesting words coming out of Draymond Jones' mouth this morning?
I got a note just as we were getting on the air here. I got a note from Brock Heward just as we were coming on and I hadn't had time to respond to Brock or look into it. So I'm going to guess if Brock is telling me something, Draymond is ripping the Broncos. So go for it.
Zach Bai tweeted this, our very own Zach Bai, said Draymond Jones on the air in Seattle this morning when asked about his time in Denver. I'll keep it short. It was more hectic than I'd like it to be. Too much going on, lots of drama that was unnecessary. Football wasn't as important as it needed to be at one point.
Well, that's on Russ. That's I don't know how else to look at it. There was a lot of drama. And it was all about satisfying Russ and taking care of Russ. And Draymond's a pretty straight shooter.
Yep.
I don't think that's like breaking news. I mean, we kind of get it.
But
things were a mess.
football wasn't as important as it needed to be at one point, is what's very interesting to me.
Yeah, you had walkthrough days in the middle of training camp. Mm-hmm. You had Thanksgiving off, Rachel, on a Thursday. It's that sort of stuff. You had the Christmas Day massacre, where it was obvious that everybody just assumed they were going to be fired, so they got to the quick and made sure it happened. Yeah. I mean, you had, there was probably a lot of attention on things that just didn't really matter. Mm-hmm. And I think that's probably true. So now what do you get with Sean Payton? I mean, basically the exact opposite. I mean, Rachel, they haven't even done press conferences for these new players. Like, we haven't met them, and I mean, it's almost 11 o'clock. I mean, have you heard about something happening?
No, but that is true. You actually just made a good point that popped in my head. That's how you know that this is about Russ, because if it was about Hackett or anything of that nature, I wonder if Draymond would have stuck around because of Sean Payton.
At the end of the day, Rachel, he got paid contractually $6 million in total, more than oh my gosh. Oh, help me out. Who's the new guy we got? Oh my God.
Zach Allen.
Zach Allen, thank you. He got paid around $6 million more. I mean, $6 million, Rachel. That's a lot of money. So, sure. and I think Draymond just needed a reset anyways. Draymond, he wasn't really tied to Denver. He didn't have deep ties, that sort of thing. So he was a good draft pick. He was a really good player. But other than that, what happened here while Draymond Jones was here? I mean, a whole lot of nothing. It's going to be one of the more forgettable eras in Broncos history. And he was a core player in a forgettable era. And that's the way it goes. I wish him nothing but the best. I like Draymond Jones a lot. I think he's an intelligent guy who questions why things are happening. I always respect that. So we go with that.
Are the people in Seattle still laughing at us?
Kind of. I don't think it's like with a guffaw, and I don't think it's like with an I told you so, but it's kind of like in a beatnik, rainy overcoat, small cup of espresso, sort of snarky side eye. Okay. It's kind of like that. It's like, they're either about to go to a Sounders game or perhaps see Mudhoney in a small club, sort of chagrin rather than a guffaw.
They got a better football team than we do.
Yeah, but it's not done for them because they've invested a lot, and they signed Drew Lock to a 1-year extension as well for less money than Jarrett Stidham got. He got 4.5. Stidham got 5. Hysterical. So we could have had Drew Lock back here if we wanted to. We could have had Drew Lock back here, Rachel. Whoa. Well, all right. Would you rather have Drew Lock or Jarrett Stidham?
Stidham.
Why?
Because I think he has a higher ceiling than Drew Lock does.
What? Lock started more games. He's got more experience.
Exactly. So we haven't seen what Jarrett Stidham can do. Drew Lock, we know. We pretty much know where the ceiling is. We don't know that with Jarrett Stidham.
So you like the potential of Stidham, and you think we've maxed out with Drew Lock?
Yeah. How long has Drew Lock been in the league now?
For 4 years.
4?
He's going on year 5 this year. Coming up.
What has Drew Lock done? I don't want to be like a Drew Lock.
But Rachel, what has anybody done with the Broncos in the past 7 years? Okay, what's anybody done? Listen, I get it. I like Drew. He's another guy that I like. But he's a second-round pick, and this is the problem with Mike Evans and his khaki pants philosophy. These second, third, fourth rounders, Rachel, they don't get the same rope as you get if you're a first-round pick to develop. They don't.
Okay, that's fine. But even if you just take him away from the Broncos, he still wasn't good in Seattle. They had a quarterback battle in Seattle, and he still didn't get the winning job because he still wasn't good enough. So you can't just blame the Broncos on that part.
Rachel, I'm not disagreeing with you. I blame the Broncos for drafting him in the second round in the first place. Yeah. I mean, I remember when it happened. I was live on the air. I was beside myself. It's like, well, you guys just don't understand. I mean, John Elway was just so clueless when it came to drafting and developing quarterbacks. It's mind-blowing that they could be so clueless on that. I don't think Sean Payton is like clueless on it. I just think Sean Payton loves reclamation projects. So, but it's not like he drafted Stidham, Rachel. He didn't lose a starter for Stidham. We're not foregoing another player for Jarrett. Well, there is the safety Gardner Johnson, right? Like, because they don't have, that's, maybe they are actually. They may have, now that I think about it, and receiver, because they didn't get Alan Lazard either.
Yeah.
So you kind of did give up a receiver or a starting safety for Jarrett Stidham right now. You actually kind of did.
Sean Payton believes.
Got to think about that one. So, Rachel, I'll put it back to you. What's more valuable, a developmental, we'll see, quarterback, or a starting receiver or safety?
I don't want to answer because I don't like the answer. But Jarrett Stidham is more important in this situation than a safety, corner, whatever. Because with Russell Wilson, you don't know what's going to happen. So you need to have a backup plan and yada, 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 D-Mac. You're right on this front.
Rachel, I think you're nailing it. I think you're hitting the ball out of the park. That is crazy. I mean, I hadn't really thought of it before, but Lazard, the deal didn't work out. He's going to the Jets. And the Gardner Johnson deal, they really don't have the money for it right now. And they've spent the third amount of money. If you just kept Brett Rippon or really went lower than that because you believe in Russ, and if you believe in Russ, seriously, who cares about the backup?
So does Sean Payton believe in Jarrett Stidham more than he believes in Russell Wilson?
That's a good damn question.
Yes.
I would say he's not sure what he thinks about Russell Wilson yet. How about that? He's not sure. I think that's the truth. I think it's undecided. And because he's not sure, he has to have a better form of insurance just in case. So if he was, I'll tell you this, if he was sure, I think you would see a higher priced, I think you would see a like Jameis Winston in here if he was sure Russ was terrible. He's not. If he thought Russ was amazing, I think you'd see a lower priced quarterback like Brett Rippon or, seriously, anybody else. So I think what you say with Jarrett Stidham is, I'm not sure yet. We'll see. And I think that's pretty fair. But I like how he's approaching it because you could win with Russ, but the offense is certainly set up that you could try to win without him too. And we'll have some interesting days in training camp if Jarrett Stidham just has days where he flat out looks better than Russell Wilson. And I do expect there to be moments like that.
So not a quarterback battle at training camp.
No.
A question of if Russ can't play because of injuries or something else, are the Broncos going to survive? Yes?
I don't know, Rachel. What are we talking about? Listen, if you can't get to the playoffs this year with Russell Wilson, this thing was an unmitigated disaster, period. You can't give up all the value that you give up. In the second year, Rachel, you can't spend $200 million on free agents and for it to not work out in terms of a playoff team. You cannot do everything they've done and not be a playoff team right away, Rachel. You just can't. I mean, the bar is set absurdly high. It's a high risk, high reward business, and it's time for that risk to pay off.
And I don't know if it will, D-Mac. That's the hard part.
Nobody does. I mean, it keeps us interested. It
People
keeps
in
us
the
watching
comments
and paying attention.
They're going to bounce back, so you hope so.
We all hope so. Nobody, listen, man. Everybody thinks like I'm out to get Russell Wilson. I'm not out to get him. I just have an opinion about him. If my opinion about him happens to be wrong, it's the best for everybody. Trust me. But what am I supposed to do? Just lie about my opinion? Am I just supposed to fabricate something? Am I supposed to do what I'm accused of? Just making things up? No. So I'm not making anything up. This is how I truly believe, and I'm just being honest. And listen, I hope I'm wrong, because the betterment for everybody is to have this team succeed. I like what they did in free agency. Yep. I've done a deeper dive on all the free agents that they have. I may not remember their names, but I've looked at all of them. I was watching offensive line tape of Mike McGlinchey for a half hour last night, so I can tell you about Mike McGlinchey and his assets. And looking at offensive lineman, Rachel, is holy cow. I mean, you got to have toothpicks for your eyes to be watching film of offensive linemen. But you can do it. Zach Allen has some really fun tape out there. Samaje Perine. I mean, the dude's played in Super Bowls.
The fact that Arizona was so devastated to lose Zach Allen gives me a lot of hope for what we're going to see out of Zach Allen. They were devastated in Arizona.
Devastated. And nobody's crying about Draymond being gone. Nobody. Name me one person that is devastated Draymond Jones isn't here anymore. Anybody?
I don't have
any. Can you name anybody?
Mm-mm.
I can't either. So, whatever. Zach Allen, Zach Allen wore a suit. Hey, right on, Zach Allen. He's taking things kind of seriously. He wore a suit to work. I
was actually listening to you and Derek. This is a total random side note, but you and Derek, and was it McGlinchey or Ben who was up in Breckenridge skiing?
Ben Powers.
So Ben Powers was up in Breckenridge. Aren't they not supposed to ski?
There's other things to do in Breckenridge besides skiing and snowboarding. It generally is consuming massive quantities of alcohol, walking up and down the main street. Fair. So I don't know for a fact. We don't know
he was on the mountain. We just know he was in Breckenridge.
He was just in Breckenridge. We didn't get a hold of him at the base of Peak 8. Although there is a nice hotel right there at the base of Peak 8. You don't have to go skiing from there. We didn't see him climbing up the Imperial Bowl. How about that? We didn't see him skiing down Whale's Tail at the top of the Imperial Bowl. That's right, Rachel. I'm making specific references to ski runs at Breckenridge.
I know you probably know the mountain well, so a lot better than I do. I guarantee actually you know all the mountains a lot better than I do. I'm only in my second year of really hitting the slopes, so getting better though. You know what we're not good at though? Picking winners for the NCAA.
Oh my God.
Me, you, and Will Peterson all had Arizona winning it, and Arizona got knocked yesterday. They said, nope, peace out, good job to, Princeton's two took down Arizona, right? And then, who took down Virginia?
Furman.
I love upsets. I'm here for it. My bracket may be completely busted, but I love it.
Well, not only did the three of us have it, but our good friend Zach Bai also had it. And,
nice.
Zach is Zach's into it.
Yeah.
Nod, wink, wink. Zach. But Zach's into it. So, listen, Doc, forget about covering. They lost. They lost to the nerds from Princeton. It was unbelievable. Hey, at the end of the day, I'm an Arizona State guy, not an Arizona guy. So no pity for the kitty. It just so happened as I was doing my bracket, they just kept winning in my stupid bracket. And I was like, this sucks. I don't want to see this. Yeah. And then I get Pac-12 sunglasses on, Rachel. I'm such a big Pac-12 fan. I just think the sun sets and rises with the Pac-12, and maybe the conference really isn't that good, I guess. But I just think so much of the Pac-12. I'm such a big Pac-12 fan. You win the Pac-12 tournament, I think you're going to win the NCAA.
Woo! Go the Pac-12. My Mountain West folks, they're doing all right. It's not.
You finally got a win. You were 0-11 until San Diego State won yesterday. Doing all right. You won one game. That's doing all right.
I'll take it. All right.
One game.
Is incorrect. Yeah. What can I say?
Yeah, you're 0 for 11, and you won one game. Way to go, San Diego State.
We're doing better than we once were, all right? We're doing better than we were yesterday, D-Mac. Leave my Mountain West alone.
Because there are two big upsets, that made yesterday pretty exciting. Most of the games are blowouts, and they're really actually not all that interesting. But boy, oh boy, you get two huge upsets like you did yesterday, and
Yeah.
it really does feel like it's the most exciting thing going on. So
True.
I'm excited for another day to get going here, and we'll see what's what. And it's super exciting that it's a chunk of it is happening in downtown Denver. So I think I think you're going to have a great time tonight. What is your popcorn strategy for tonight?
Ooh, I'm hoping they're going to give us free popcorn. I'm really anti spending $15 on popcorn at Ball Arena because I know I can make just as good a popcorn here at home. So
I've seen the media setup. The media setup is bueno. It's all in Club Lexus. What, Jake?
I haven't seen any popcorn in Club Lexus, so you might be bummed, Rachel.
Oh,
But the media spread, everything is in Club Lexus, right, Jake?
Yes, it looks gorgeous. I had a breakfast with some cranberry juice. It was beautiful down here. Oh, and by the way, my favorite part about March Madness and sitting this close, by the way, is looking at all the guys' shoes. I just love checking out their shoes.
nice. Good setup. Okay,
Jake,
well,
is that your media seat?
Well, actually, now, D-Mac, I work for the Omaha World Herald. I'm sorry I didn't tell you guys I've left my position here at 104.3 The Fan.
See that? Hey, that is a savvy vet move. You pick out a credential for somebody you know is not going to be there because their team plays later.
Yep.
That is, Jake, my man, I respect the effort. That's pretty good right there. And then when they show up, you're like, duh. Because, do you know where our seats really are? I looked them up. Do you know where our seats really are? That's right.
Oh, man. We're like by the Stanley, where we sat for Stanley Cup.
Yeah, but Jake's right. They really won't care as long as nobody's in the way. And if you just plot it the right way, you can pretty easily figure out who's not going to be there.
Sure.
And you really should be able to watch the game right from the floor, which, by the way, when I was covering Syracuse, when I first started covering college basketball, my season press credential was just where Jake was sitting. It was right on the floor, and it was so exciting. I mean, it was just so awesome to be down there.
Jake, we'll let you go because I think they're doing the national anthem right now.
Oh.
Oh my gosh, that is so funny. Oh my gosh. I saw the people stand up and I was like, oh yeah, we're about 15 minutes. Real quick, I do want to do, it is Friday, and so I want to do Ask Us Anything. So if you have anything, give it to us. Drop it in the comments. Let me know who you are taking in the NCAA tournament now that Arizona is, of course, out. But D-Mac, what are you going to go do in California?
I am going to go see my son play college baseball. He plays for a JUCO in Northern California, the West Valley Vikings. Uh-huh. They split a doubleheader against City College of San Francisco yesterday. Uh-huh. They've got a rematch against those guys at San Francisco State, so I'll be in San Fran. And then I believe they play Skyline. This is some in-depth Northern California junior college baseball action, Rachel. And, the one thing that I respect about all college athletes, especially the JUCO kids, and my son in particular, is the desire to want to do something that's hard to do, really hard to do. When you think of big-time athletes, generally the guys that you think of, this stage of their life came relatively easily. They were stars in high school and stars in college until they got to the pros. There's another level underneath that. These are the stories of guys that can get to the pros for sure. Mm-hmm. But there's so much hard work that goes with it. And my son's been on a remarkable journey with a bevy of bad coaches. And I'll just leave it there. Fortunately, the situation at Northern Colorado, I believe in their new coach, Mike Anderson. They're having a bit of a tough time right now because they've just been depleted because of the previous administration. But my guy, Mike Anderson, is building them back. I believe in that program, and I think they're going to bounce back. I just wish the changes that have been made now happened while my son was still there, because he loved being a Bear. And I love supporting UNC, and I will continue to support UNC. But when you get some bad coaches in college, Rachel, holy cow. The nightmare that you can have in the pros is, listen, in the pros you can change quickly. But when you have bad coaches that ruin a college program, that's like, changing the Titanic. It just takes forever to change it. Because there's so much damage that's been inflicted. This is what we see with the Walton Penner Group, Rachel. At the end of the day, in the pros, if you got money, just spend it. Just spend it. Welcome to Wrexham. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, and I'm glad they're doing it. In college, it's a whole different deal. And my son's been caught up in a bunch of it, but I'm super, super duper proud of him that through it all, and it's been rough, because don't forget, he was a spring athlete, 2020 COVID-impacted kid. So he lost his entire year. Rachel, I still feel so badly for all those high school kids, spring athletes that lost their year because of COVID. I mean, it really sucks.
So we're seeing some people say UCLA. A good friend of mine said Kansas is running this thing. K-State going out early. I will be cheering for K-State later tonight. If you didn't know, my boyfriend lives very close to Manhattan, Kansas, so big K-State fans. Then we got DMAC. If Samaje Perine has to be the number one back, are you satisfied, or what's your level in trust if that occurs?
I don't believe in number one backs anymore. It's the NFL is almost every single team has a dual back concept. The bell cow running back like Derrick Henry, they're few and far between. It's a balancing act. Here's what I love about Samaje Perine. He has 2 fumbles and 401 carries. He hasn't had a fumble since 2017. Got some injuries in there, so not every season was equal. But even in that rookie season, he had like 170 carries with 2 fumbles. He's got 401 carries, period, and only 2 fumbles going back to his rookie year. He's 4 yards a carry. He has possibility to break one, and he can catch the ball too. I love him. I mean, what's not to love about Samaje Perine? And the price is absolutely right. Hopefully, Javonte Williams comes back healthy. I think they'll sign maybe Latavius Murray, and they'll draft a guy, maybe with that 3rd-round pick. And that's the life of running backs, Rachel. That's it. You never should spend too much on them, nor should you value them too much. And as much as I love Javonte Williams, and I do, I think he's great, I think taking a running back with a 2nd-round pick is a waste of time. And if you lose out on Javonte Williams, I mean, that sucks. But Zeke Elliott just got released by the Cowboys. I mean, and spending big bucks for running backs, I mean, forget it. If you're going to spend money like that, that guy better be Deebo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey. And I don't know if Austin Eckler is like that or not. Maybe he is. But you better have something unbelievably special, because you can really get the job done with 2 or 3 guys, Rachel. You really can.
2 years ago, we would never have believed that Zeke would have got cut. I mean, he was, well, maybe it was 3 years ago, but one way or another, he was the talk of the NFL and how lucky the Cowboys were and everything. Like, it can change so fast when it comes to running backs.
The way careers can fall off a cliff, Rachel, it's crazy. You should never assume a guy is going to be exactly the same as he was the year before after a certain point. And unfortunately for running backs, that point happens around 26 or 27. I mean, it happens at an absurdly young age. Other guys, it's different. Aaron Rodgers is going to play quarterback for the Jets eventually, and he's going to do so into his 40s. Offensive linemen can play for a long time, but corners, receivers, running backs, those highly skilled positions, those positions where these unbelievable superstar kids come out of college, even with all their corrupt coaches, they come out of college ready to contribute right away. And it's a crazy factory of athletes. It's amazing.
Are you guys underwhelmed by the performance of Team USA in the WBC, the World Baseball Classic, correct?
Yeah, the answer is no. It's all about pitching. It's baseball. That's the way it goes. There's great pitchers all over the world from every country. And no, if you run into a great pitcher from Ireland, St. Patrick's Day, you can be in big trouble. It's a unique sport like that. And if you're facing the right pitcher or wrong pitcher for your team, no, I mean, that's why I love the WBC. I am heartbroken for Edwin. Help me out, Perez. Edwin, the trumpet guy. Anyways, the guy for the Mets. I know. Seriously, mile long, 3 inches deep. But he tore his patella in celebration. When Puerto Rico beat the Dominican, and that is heartbreaking. But I don't think anybody regrets playing, and I think it's exciting as hell that Shohei Ohtani with Japan is now in Miami for the semifinals. I think it's awesome. And while I definitely root for the United States, one of the reasons I love baseball is it's worldwide. It's a worldwide sport. And I think that makes it fascinating.
You were going to steal my thunder right there. I was going to say, one thing I have learned from the WBC is that even though baseball is America's pastime, there is a ton of really good baseball all around the world. Like, it's not just like football is here in the United States. Like, there is a ton of good baseball all over. Did I steal your
It's amazing. Baseball gets a bad rap. They're working on making the game better with the pitch clock and other changes. I think it's not going to be a done deal, but I like what they're doing.
Real quick.
Yeah.
We've talked a lot about this week, especially with owners, and you're a good owner if you put out, you're good in the community, yada, yada, not necessarily what it is about on the field. Where does the Rockies owner, Dick Monfort, fit in this? Because what they've done around Denver has been fantastic, but what they've actually put out on the baseball diamond hasn't been great. So where does he rank in your owners here in Denver?
Have you ever read the story of the Emperor with no clothes? Are you familiar with that story?
I am not.
The gist of the story is the Emperor with no clothes is that, he walks around naked thinking he's wearing glorious robes. And he has a bunch of sycophants that just tell him how amazing he actually looks.
Yeah.
And, it's not until much later, and maybe I'm not getting the story completely right, where he realizes he's been walking around naked the entire time because somebody is willing to share with him what he actually looks like. I think he looks into a mirror or a pond or a pool. I don't know. Like, he sees his reflection and at some point realizes I've got no clothes on, even though everybody's been telling me how incredible I look. That's Monfort. So I can't praise him completely because he's the Emperor with no clothes, Rachel. He's only surrounded himself with yes men, and people tell him how great he is. To the degree that he is actually shocked that people have a beef with the Rockies because he lives in a palace and all he hears about is how amazing he is. And if you only hear how amazing you are, you're not going to have a fair sense of critical analysis about yourself. So there are things that are amazing about the Rockies. The ballpark is amazing. The rooftop is amazing.
Yes.
The spring training facility is amazing. McGregor Square is amazing. Everything is amazing, except when you just listen to people who only tell you how great you are, you're going to start making the same mistakes over and over and over again. And that's essentially what they've done. They have built the same set of cards. It's the same house of cards, and the same card gets pulled out every time, making the entire set collapse. Nobody is keeping it real with the Monforts. But that being said, it's not like other good things haven't happened, and that doesn't mean there aren't other good people that work there. But if the owner is not willing to hear fair criticism and make significant change, you're toast. And with the Broncos, they did it. They got a new owner. The problem is, and this is a warning for Greg Penner, don't be the Emperor with no clothes. Don't surround yourself as a billionaire with people just kissing your butt. And I would like to think the best thing we can do at denversports.com in terms of Denver sports, Rachel, is to keep it real. We have no ties to any team. We have no financial benefit for saying one thing or another. And if you don't like my opinion, we have a bunch of other people that think the opposite, and they express it all the time. It is not a one-way street at denversports.com.
Boom. And for that, there's your literature lesson and a great way to end our show. We love all of you and we appreciate you hanging out with us every single day, every single weekday. DMAC, have so much fun in California. Everybody have a wonderful weekend. If you're going to be down at Ball Arena tonight, shoot me a DM or tweet at me and maybe I will come say hi or we can meet up somehow because I would love to meet all of you, of course, down there. It's going to be really fun. I'm looking forward to it. But for that is going to end Friday's episode of Coffee Break. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody, and we will see you on Monday. Bye.
There once was a man from Nantucket